Yes, new day, new hair, new whatever, new week. So, it's time to find out something we're gonna review this week. What am I gonna do? What am I going to do? Well now, what am I going to review this week? I mean, I'm bored of everything American, and I still haven't got over that bout of anime malaria. It was terrible. No, I need to go somewhere else for animation. I know. Europe! They're always weird and amusing. Oh, what's this? Help, I'm a Fish, huh? A movie from Denmark, eh? I don't know anything about Denmark. I could just Google Denmark. Probably be a lot easier. But this seems like the best time in the world to abuse my powers for no reason. Just like old times. I'll find the perfect Danish person to help me talk about this movie. Okay, alright.
My Denmark senses are tingling. Who's there?
Hey, you! Yeah, you. Sorry to invade your mind like this, but you're from Denmark and I need some help with something. And apparently I think that Google searching is less expedient than shortening my lifespan by several years.
Now you listen to me, lady. I don't know who you are. I don't know how you know about me. I don't know how you do this mind thing you're doing right now. But do you really think you just invade my brain and start asking me favors out of the blue and count on me doing whatever you say?
Yes?
Okay.
Wait, really?
Yeah, sure, it's not like I got anything better to do. So, what can I help you with?
Help, I'm a fish.
I'm very sorry to hear that.
No, you fuck brain. Help, I'm a Fish. It's a movie that you Danish people made back in 2000.
Oh, right, that one! I'm actually kind of surprised you know about that one overseas.
Well, we got this fantastic new invention called the internets over here in Canada too, you know. And even then, we barely know anything about this movie. That's probably because it looked like this.
Ah! What the hell is that? It looks like Video Brincado ate and shut up a shark's tail.
I know, and I love how Alan Rickman's name is the only one on the cover, which is basically just saying, look, we got a celebrity! Please watch us!
And who does he even play? The poster makes it look like he's playing the shark, and that the shark is the main character. What the hell is this?
Well, why don't you tell us then?
Alright then. Help, I'm a Fish is a Danish traditionally animated family film released in the year 2000. While many of those types of movies have been released domestically, it is unique in that it was produced and recorded in English before later being dubbed to Danish rather than the other way around in an attempt to increase international revenue. Despite this, it took another year for it to reach the UK, and when it reached the US and Canada in 2006, it had that monstrosity painted on it.
Well, that's fascinating and all that, but can we get on with this, please? I think my sinuses are on fire.
Alright, you salty sardine. Jeez! The movie is about three kids named Fly, Chuck, and Stella as they're left home with their aunt one night and sneak out to go fishing when she falls asleep. Because, you know, this totally radical tubular dude here is exactly the kind of character you expect to be big into fishing. He's the token cool kid in case you haven't noticed the cap he's wearing. Oh, and I bet you can't guess which of the two others are the token nerd and the girl to round out the stock trio.
In the most logical turn of events ever conceived, the kids stumble upon a crazy-ass marine biologist named Professor Mackerel, who thinks having whimsical adventures is justification for playing God, and all three of the kids get turned into fish by drinking this fish potion. Or, you know, Fly turns into a fish, Chuck and Stella turn into a jellyfish and a starfish, respectively, which are not fish. Whew, only 10 minutes in and we've already cracked the logistic rock.
And that rock is then smashed into pebbles as the kids end up in the ocean and lose the antidote that they have to drink within 48 hours to be able to turn back into humans. The antidote, however, ends up with a fish named Joe, who gains human intelligence from drinking it and intends to use it to evolve all of fishkind and be their ruler. The kids now have to get the antidote from him before they end up as ocean creatures forever.
I don't know about you, but the plot seems to be very, well, not lazy per se, just very bare bones. Like the writers were following a writing adventure for children 101 class. Sure, it doesn't say or do anything particularly awful, but sometimes just being bland and inoffensive can be way worse than being downright shitty, because sometimes comedy gold can be found in terrible, horrible material, right?
It really does just truck along trying to hit all the usual story beats as fast as possible without any attention being paid to detail or sense. And that's without getting into how bland the main characters are. Professor Mackerel, get it, because fish, is goofy without purpose like some kind of acrophiliac Doc Brown without ever having enough screen time to actually matter. Fly just plays the cool kid card with little brains behind any of his actions, and Stella not only sets the whole plot in motion by acting her age, she's completely and utterly useless for the whole movie. When the extremely stereotypical fat kid geek is your most developed character, you've got a problem on your hands.
Whoa, okay, slow down there a sec. Yeah, it's true that these characters aren't as deep as something like, I don't know, Grave of the Fireflies, but at least you can count it as a small grace that none of the kids are horrendously annoying or anything. Sure, they more or less just get dragged along for the ride and have a very negligible impact on the plot progression at best, but at least you won't be requiring ear surgery after a single viewing. You know what I'm saying?
Well, okay, you got me there. They're definitely tolerable, they're just so damn stock that it ends up really getting on my nerves. But at the very least, we got Joe. Yeah, he's a super stereotypical villain too, and he looks like the result of a really uncomfortable threesome between Jafar, Ariel, and Jack Nicholson's Joker, but he's pretty entertaining in just how sleazy he is, not the least due to the late Alan Rickman's performance.
Yeah, Joe would be totally and completely forgettable if it weren't for Alan Rickman's performance. Even in a low-key thing like this, he still sounds like he's trying his best. But for Joe's goal, all he wants to do is make fish intelligent and become ruler of the ocean, I guess. Seems like an admirable goal, until he starts using the other fish for slave labor. How delightful.
Incredibly effective fish slave labor. Seriously, look at all the shit they built. Look, maybe it's just me who's weird, but I like playing along with weird concepts. I'll happily play along with a potion that turns people into fish and fish into people. I'll play along with intelligence subtly meaning speaking a language you've never heard or been capable of understanding before. I'll play along with the concept of a fish dictator. But somehow managing to build an urban metropolis in less than 24 hours, complete with things like public transit? I'm sorry, that's at least 50 points off Slytherin right there. Newsflash, Joe! You're not Lawrence Limburger!
The fuck is that?
Well, somebody never watched Biker Mice from Mars. Scrub!
Well, it looks like you have your life perfectly in order over there.
Well, excuse me, goggles of Sol.
Hey, my goggles are awesome. If you put them on, you can see the future. Well, at least if you wait a while, you can see the future. Anyways, the real problem with Joe, though, is that his motivation doesn't really affect anyone at all. So what if he rules the sea? Sure, he's being a prick about it, but it just seems to mean modernizing the place. The only reason he even comes into the conflict with the kids is because he won't share the antidote when they try to take it back. But the professor sang the damn recipe for it earlier in the movie, and the kids even start brewing it themselves later. If they'd just done that from the start, everything would have been business as usual as far as we know.
Still though, none of this is anything I'd consider downright awful, just a little by the numbers. Outside of the slightly awkward pacing and some huge leaps in logic, the story is still generally told well enough, and while the characters may be a little stock, they're defined quickly and effectively through dialogue, body language, and complementary character design.
And actually, speaking of character design, I should mention the overall design of the movie. You wouldn't think that a low-key movie like this would spring for some halfway decent animation quality, but nope. This movie actually looks quite good, with some nice fluid animation. Sorta reminds me of 8 Crazy Nights and Bebe's Kids. I mean, those movies were deep-fried pig shit, but at least they had some decent animation quality.
Well, it was made specifically to compete with other internationally released animated movies at the time, so that explains the animation quality. I also do like that it does go the extra mile to add nice little touches in the background. Like this Jaws-themed glass-stained window in Professor McCrill's lab. Me likey. Plus, as much as I complained about how fast Joe creates his modern city, little things like using a whale for a bus actually makes for some alright gags, I think.
Well, you're over there thinking about windows and whale buses. I'm over here thinking about how this movie has some serious balls for a kid's movie.
What? What do you mean?
What I mean is that this movie is oddly serious for something with such a childish motif. It uses a dark, heavy color palette a lot of the time, and has... yeah, well, I may as well show it to you as opposed to explain it. That's pretty messed up for a kid's movie, isn't it?
Not really, no.
Yeah, it's... wait, what?
Well, this is probably more of a cultural thing, but at least up to the late 2000s, Danish children's movies were never that afraid of throwing in some light violence or adult themes. We like to believe kids can handle stuff. The Danish dub of this movie also contains a few minor swears like a smartass or a damn here and there, along with the violence. But really, we've had stuff like this.
Hvad er du for en? Er du en børnelokker?
Børnelokker? Nej. Jeg er ornitolog.
Or this.
Sådan er det, når man bliver rigtig gammel stumme. Så rejser man i forvejen op til paradiset.
Oh, and this. Also this. Or this.
Er vi slanke, er vi smækre i fasongen?
I læbre. I lækre. Alle tre.
Though, to be fair, that last one was released in 1971, so, in any case, we've never really been against this stuff. Still, Help I'm a Fish is kinda dark, even up to the way of defeating the villain, which I'd rather not spoil since it's actually one of the more clever parts of the movie.
Huh. Well, thanks for telling me that. I'll remember to put Denmark in my list of countries that are way cooler than mine. That really pisses me off, actually. And I'm gonna take out my frustration on this movie, so I'm gonna talk about the bad things in it. Care to join me?
Sure. Where do you want to start?
Well, how about we talk about one of my biggest personal bugaboos of all time, the downright broken pacing.
Sounds good to me.
Great, awesome. Well then, yeah, the pacing is, as I like to call it, absolutely rife with plot diarrhea. So shit is just happening so goddamn fast that it's almost as bad as post-movie SpongeBob pacing. And that shit is some intense amounts of awful.
I know what you mean, Sol. There are some parts of this movie that just seem to be rushing at a breakneck speed where it can be like, I'm gonna go look for an octopus, and then an octopus shows up literally 2 seconds later. Or like I mentioned earlier, how Joe manages to build an entire underwater city and install slave labor in less than a day. It makes it kinda hard to get invested when scenes are happening so fast that you can't even properly react to them.
Not to mention the ridiculous coincidences that are constantly popping up too. But hey, what can you expect with a movie that is just so... God, I really can't think of any other description than just... ugh.
It's right. Almost no time is spent truly reflecting on the nature of this situation. No time is spent developing anybody, aside from one scene shoehorned in near the end that's over faster than you can make a fish sticks joke. And to go to the next point, no time is spent on figuring out what the goddamn point of all this is. Is the movie about the dangers of global warming? No, that's just why McCrill makes the potion. It's never brought up again. Is the movie about Fly and Chuck learning from each other? No, that's just the thing that happens to make the climax possible. Is the movie about how human ambition always leads to destruction and we need to change our ways? Nah, Joe is just an asshole. Nobody learns anything, nobody goes through a particularly noteworthy change, nothing that happens has any impact on anything.
And that wouldn't even be such a big deal if the movie didn't carry itself as though it's trying to tell a grand, Pixar-esque adventure with a supposedly deep morality, when there's really about as much substance as an overcooked fish stick. I suppose there's no better way to put it than with this classic line from The Simpsons.
perhaps there is no moral to this story.
Exactly. It's just a bunch of stuff that happened.
But it certainly was a memorable few days.
Whew. I think that's everything worth mentioning today. Hey, buddy?
Did you seriously just make a fish sticks joke right after I made a fish sticks joke?
I think that's everything worth mentioning today. Hey, buddy?
Alright. In any case, all this nitpicking aside, Help I'm a Fish is at worst an inoffensive time waster. It's an alright watch if you're just looking to see an animated movie you haven't seen before, just don't expect anything particularly great.
Yes, it's true that this movie is just bland enough not to get all up in a tizzy about, but there are definitely worse movies out there for children. It's a shame that this movie is seen as some sort of knockoff, because there was real effort put into the animation, but unless you're as obsessed with fish as Professor Mackerel over there, you can probably give this one a skip.
Well said.
Wait, what are you drinking?
What, this? No, this is nothing. This is just some juice I had lying around. It's not... Uh-oh. I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
Oh no! You're a fish! I better play a poppy musical number to make this whole situation seem much more lighthearted.
If you want to undergo this remarkable transformation, you'll have to
Help! Help me, Sol! I'm dying! Help!
I'm sorry, I can't hear you over all the whimsy! Yay!
Fuck you!
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah, you! Whoa. Power surge.
Yeah, sure, got nothing better to do.
Whoops.
Shit, it's really hard.
Want to stay up to date with the latest EyeofSol news? You can follow me on Twitter as well as on Facebook at twitter.com/EyeofSol299 and facebook.com/EyeofSol. I update them every day, so if you want to check out news on the show as well as updates, just follow the links here. Hey everybody, thanks a ton for watching our review of Help I'm a Fish. Very, very special thanks to Fiction Addiction for joining me on this collaboration. It was a lot of fun doing it, and I hope you had a lot of fun too. It was great working with you. If you want to see the previous Sol episode, as well as some of Fiction Addiction stuff, you can see the annotations playing on the video right now. Or if you want to like and share this video, we'd appreciate that as well. Or subscribe to either of our channels, the annotations are right there on the screen for you. If you have an idea for an animated series or movie you want me to comment on, you can leave me a message in the YouTube comments, on any one of my social media sites, or just let me know in any way you can think of to let me know what you want to see, and I will add it to my list. Thanks again for watching everybody, don't forget to check out Fiction Addiction's channel as well, and I'll see you next week for another review.